Hey guys, Tom back here, standing in the sun a little bit. Get some afternoon sun in the park. This is actually the park I usually go to exercise in. I made video from here before. I really like this park. It's like kind of small but a lot of vegetation, which is, it's so nice. Considering where I live, is just street with the cars and sounds, ambulance. I need to get away from that. That's why I do like exercising and running. For me, that is really helpful in regards to kind of clear my mind, I guess. Very meditative for me. And I didn't have anything particular in mind to bring up, but I wanted to catch up again. So I'm gonna take you with me for all these things that obviously I want to go somewhere during my vacation. But I have a lot of writings to do as well. I can tell you one thing that I was listening to. Just before I went out, I have listened to this before. It's David Lynch. For those who do not know David Lynch, he's a director, writer, artist, maybe even a painter. Either way, his most famous is probably the work for Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks, Blue Velvet, I believe, Eraserhead, a lot of different things. Very special taste. I have to see Twin Peaks soon again, to be honest, because that show is just really, really, really good. I saw this thing where he speak on creativity and using meditation as a way to gathering information and ideas. And it's an interesting concept. I can tell you my experience. I was experimenting with the meditation back in 2015, 16, and I didn't use the kind of traditional transcendental meditation style where you have a mantra. It's a word that does not particularly mean anything, and you are just gonna repeat that over and over. What I did is I found sort of like a 15 minute oriental meditational sounds or music. Regardless, I would probably label it as a song, as a music, but very repetitive. And I focused on the breathing technique, where you are basically you're taking deep breaths and really focusing on that. So that's what I did. And you let thoughts come and go, It does not mean anything. You just let everything, like when you think about maybe some past experience, you think about when are you gonna do your homework, when are you gonna make the laundry, these basic mundane things. And then sometimes maybe it can be intruding thoughts, because a lot of people, they don't want to understand the fact that we have a shadow self. And that can be frightening to some in the very, very beginning, as it was for me. But that does not mean that we are not our thoughts. We are not the bad thoughts that we think, and we are not like we think about. Normal thing is that we think about a horror situation or a situation of a crisis, catastrophe that might happen, and we start feeling fear from that. That is just thought, and accept that it's a part of experience, that horrible catastrophes, chaos can happen, but we are not our thoughts. So that for me was like not really an issue there. I had later on a real experience with my shadow self, which is a completely different. I mean, they are related, I understand, but they as well are different experiences from having intrusive thoughts while doing meditation and having a complete experience with your shadow self. And just briefly, experience your shadow self is a process that can last for some time. Like, depends. For some maybe more, for some less time, and you just learn to understand. To just short, just short about the shadow self. You learn to take in that as a part of the human psyche, that all people have that, and those people who don't want to face that, and don't want to recognize their shadow self, are actually very, very vulnerable people. Is the best thing you can do to face the shadow self, and because you become more full of a person, and you realize that, for example, darkness, there is no limitation to it, and it's in everybody. But on the other hand, love and giving and being peaceful, there is no end to that as well, and that is obviously the only option that we have to, the energy we have to work with. But back to the meditation, which was for me really kind of, I feel like that was a part of a lot of things that happened in my life during those years. But first and foremost, in the beginning it was difficult with the meditation, because you start to have all thoughts like trying to interrupt, because the idea about the meditation is not that we are really gonna think, we are just gonna kind of accept thoughts coming and going. So what happened with me after a while, you know, I from the kind of the very beginning, I started to have, I don't know if I want to call it visions, but in some terms it's visions. I started to have this sensation of sitting in a group of other beings, like ancient, old souls, sitting kind of in a circle with me and feeling very protected. Maybe you can call these beings or these souls kind of the meditators, or I have a word that I can't find right now, but they are like, they're guiding me, ancestors guiding me through the experience of learning meditation. And that was quite early on. I started to have that sensation of sitting in a group with these ancient souls or gurus, or I don't know. That was interesting, and that was kind of appearing very early, like I said. But then what happened kind of much later on, like month later on, and I did this for, I believe it was 15 minutes per day, and 15 to 20 minutes per day is what I recall, but I don't remember for how long period of time, but it was months. Then I had two experiences which was very similar, and I tried to find information about this on the internet, but so far I did not yet find it, but I believe some people know what it is. So I had an experience where my consciousness felt so clean, and I sort of entered you can call it a room if you like, a room of complete emptiness, silence, and completely present. But there were no of these cluttered thoughts. none of these daily habit, chores, thoughts, or intrusive thoughts were no way near. It was just this kind of silenceness or peace of mind, complete silence, and very sharp. I could kind of communicate with my consciousness in the sense of I'm in here in this room so blissful and peaceful, and I just reached a moment where I just burst out in crying. And it was not from sadness, sorrowness. It was complete bliss that I just aroused my whole being. A very powerful sensation that I had never experienced in this way before. I've experienced bliss, obviously, but not in this way, which was so pure. That was very interesting. It was sort of like, wow. After that, I had one more experience like that. Maybe not as strong, but it was the same, like bliss, pure bliss, and starting to cry and laugh. Also, I remember that, laughing at the same time. After that, I just basically stopped. I felt I reached another development, you could say, individual personal development. But then I understand this is a long way to go. You know, I consider to start again because I feel like I need to connect with part of myself to become more creative and handle some kind of, I guess, stress-related anxiety. Not really anxiety as you feeling anxiety, more of a stress and underlying, I don't want to say aggression, but underlying irritation. And I think it's, to be honest, I think it's the job contributing a little bit to this. But trying to be present, and when I think something negative, I just catch it up right away. Like, no, change that, Tom, because don't feed the negative thoughts and negative ideas of other people or situation. It's about how you or how I relate to the experience, and I don't want to relate to the experience with a negative attitude. Hope I make myself clear. I try to be articulate as I can with this topic, because this topic is very big for me. I don't believe I shared this before, but it was a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. So now I did. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep this short, so I'm gonna finish there, and I hope you found this helpful, and it would be really interesting if somebody could share your experience with meditation and the technique, method that you've used, and whatever impact it had on you. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I see you next time.